Welcome back. So, if you've ever felt like your golf swing is just this confusing black box,
Hmm.
you know where you start at address, P1, and you see where you finish, P9. But everything happening in between feels like, well, chaos.
Yeah, that sounds familiar for a lot of golfers.
Then this deep dive is definitely for you.
Absolutely. Because the modern golf world, especially with AI coaching apps, advanced simulators, they all use a common framework,
Right.
a universal language, really, to figure out where power is leaking or why you're inconsistent. And if you want to actually understand what all that data means,
You need the roadmap.
you need this roadmap. Exactly.
So that's our mission today. We're going to decode that essential biomechanical model, the 9 key swing positions, P1 right through to P9,
Right.
and we won't treat it like just a boring checklist. Think of it more like a blueprint for building this perfect swing sculpture,
I like that analogy. Sculpture.
showing you how to build up that potential energy and then unleash maximum speed. Consider us your guides through what can seem like a pretty overwhelming stack of kinematic data sometimes.
Okay, let's jump right in then. P1, the address position.
The very beginning.
The beginning, it seems so simple, right? Just stand there.
Ah.
But P1 might actually be the most misunderstood part because it sets up everything. All the potential energy you can possibly create starts here.
Okay, let's unpack that foundation. When an AI system or a coach analyzes P1, what are they looking for? What are the sort of key things before any movement even starts?
Well, it really demands two things, structure and stillness, or maybe relaxed stillness.
Okay.
We're looking for balance, weight distributed evenly. Club face square to your target. Arms hanging naturally.
Not stiff.
Definitely not stiff. Not reaching either, just hanging.
Aye.
And critically, that slight forward tilt from the hips, the spine angle, which puts your head comfortably over the ball.
It's interesting. The main coaching tip I often hear for P1 isn't even about a specific angle, but more mindset. It's about being solid yet relaxed.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial.
That relaxation is the foundation for consistency. It starts by ditching the tension.
It's paramount. Because any tension you hold at P1, say in your shoulders or arms, directly restricts the coil you need later on.
Makes sense.
If that foundation is tense or unstable, well, the whole swing structure can collapse later.
Right.
So once that setup is solid but relaxed, then the movement starts. We get to P2.
The takeaway, club parallel to the ground.
Exactly. Clubs moving away from the ball. Specific position, if you're looking at data, is around MIGA to 1.3 to 0.1 inches relative to the starting point. Hands are roughly in front of your trail thigh.
Okay, so positionally that makes sense. But what's happening dynamically? This is where the body starts working, isn't it? The separation begins.
This is the engine starting up. The key here is the shoulders begin rotating quite a bit more than the pelvis. And that difference in rotation, that separation, that's what we call the X factor. It's the primary source of torque in the swing.
Like stretching a rubber band.
Exactly. Think of it precisely like stretching a rubber band between your hips and your shoulders. At the same time, your weight just subtly starts to shift onto that trail foot. You're beginning the loading process.
Got it. So P2 isn't just take the club back. It's initiating that crucial rotational difference, starting to build the spring.
Precisely. And that separation, that coiling action, just continues to increase as we move into the next phase, P3 and P4. This is really the power coil section.
Okay, P3, mid-backswing. The lead arm is roughly parallel to the ground, maybe shoulder height. How much spring, how much tension have we loaded up by this point?
A significant amount. Your upper body keeps coiling, winding up against a lower body that's resisting that turn, relatively stable.
Still resisting.
Still providing that base, yes. This moment, P3, is really where that rotational tension starts to peak. Our sources often call this the power phase because the amount of separation here really dictates the potential for speed and control you'll have coming down. You're essentially holding that energy.
Holding it.
Yeah.
Until P4. The top of the backswing, the absolute peak. Maximum potential energy stored up.
That's it.
If we freeze an elite player right here at P4, what's the key measurement? What's that ratio that shows efficient coiling?
The ratio is the big insight. You're right. You need a big shoulder turn compared to your hip turn.
Okay.
So an elite player might show, say, 90 to 100 degrees of chest rotation, but their pelvis only rotated about 45 degrees.
Wow, so double the rotation in the shoulders versus the hips.
That substantial difference is the X factor, fully loaded and maintained.
That ratio really tells you if you've genuinely coiled and created tension or if you've just sort of swayed your whole body back.
Correct. Swaying loses energy, coiling stores it.
And the really key point here, the common fault, is that P4 must maintain posture. If you overswing, lift up, or let your base get wobbly.
You bleed it all away. All that stored energy just dissipates before the downswing even has a chance.
Right.
You want those wrists fully hinged, fully set, most of your weight now firmly on that trail foot, poised, ready for the reversal.
Okay, the spring is fully loaded. Now we hit P5, the transition. This feels like the trickiest part for most golfers. It's almost counterintuitive.
It really is, and it's probably where the majority of amateur swing flaws originate.
How do you reverse direction smoothly without just, throwing away all that tension you just built up?
Well, this is where physics really takes center stage. P5 marks the beginning of what's called the kinematic sequence.
Okay, the kinematic sequence. Let's define that.
It's the order in which your body segments accelerate and decelerate. And critically, at P5, the lower body, specifically the pelvis, starts rotating towards the target first.
Wait, before the upper body?
Yes. Before the upper body and the arms have even fully completed their backswing journey to P4.
So hang on, the hips are starting forward while the shoulders and arms are still technically going back. That sounds really hard to coordinate.
It's a split-second difference, a slight overlap, but it is absolutely critical. That separation, the lower body initiating while the upper body is still finishing, is what creates lag.
Lag, the magic word in golf.
It really is. If we define lag simply, it's that delay, the trailing of the club head behind the body's rotation. Think about cracking the whip again.
Okay.
The handle, which is like your core, has to accelerate forward and then brake sharply.
Decelerate.
Right, decelerate. Before the tip of the whip, the club head can snap through and reach maximum speed. P5 is the start of that handle action, the core initiating.
So if an average golfer feels like they need to hit the ball hard from the top, and they start down by throwing their hands or unwinding their shoulders first,
Which is incredibly common.
they completely bypass P5. They lose the lag instantly.
Instantly. The whip effect is destroyed before it even starts. You get that casting motion.
Which leads us down towards P6, club parallel to the ground again, but now on the way down.
Correct. And the vital check here is your weight shift. By P6, it needs to be almost complete. You should feel heavily braced onto your lead side.
And P6 is like the final checkpoint, the last chance saloon before impact, to see if you've avoided that casting fault, right?
It is indeed. Casting, just to be clear, is releasing that crucial wrist angle, that lag, way too early.
Throwing the club head.
Exactly. If you didn't get the sequence right back at P5, often the hands panic around P6 and just fling the club head out towards the ball, losing all that stored speed.
So you must maintain that angle in the lead wrist, letting the body rotation pull the club down and through.
Yes. The body pulls the handle pulls the club.
Okay, maintaining that lag, letting the sequence work, brings us to P7, impact.
The moment of truth.
This is it. You called it the most critical millisecond. All the forces we've built up, all the sequencing, it all converges right here.
And the geometry has to be spot on. At P7, ideally your lead side is firm, braced like a post. Your hips are significantly open to the target, rotated through, that shows the lower body did its job. But crucially, your hands must be ahead of the ball.
Forward shaft lean.
That's it. Necessary for compressing the ball properly. And interestingly, your chest is only slightly open at this point. It hasn't fully caught up to the hips yet.
Right, that separation is maintained even through impact. And this P7 position is where those AI swing analyzers, the chatbots, really earn their money, isn't it? They measure key things right at this instant.
Exactly right. There are basically 5 critical metrics measured at P7 that effectively determine where your ball is going to go. They synthesize everything you did from P1 to P6.
What are they?
Shaft lean, dynamic loft, the actual loft on the club face at impact, attack angle, are you hitting down or up on the ball, club face angle relative to the target, and finally swing path, the direction the club is moving through impact.
Wow. Get one of those wrong.
And the ball's likely going offline or losing distance. P7 isn't just a static picture. It's the dynamic result of the entire sequence leading up to it.
Okay, so we've made contact. Now we move through the ball into P8, the early follow-through.
Clubs parallel to the ground again, just past impact.
What are we looking for here?
Full extension. The arms should be fully extended, releasing down the target line. It shows commitment through the ball, not just at the ball.
So P8 is kind of like the report card for energy transfer.
That's a great way to put it. If you see the arms bending quickly or funny manipulations here, it often suggests the player didn't fully trust the sequence. Maybe they tried to decelerate or steer the club through impact.
Instead of just letting the rotation carry it through.
Right, exactly. The torso rotation needs to be continuous, pulling that trail shoulder right under the chin. Full release.
And that release leads us to the final pose, the punctuation mark, P9. The finish position.
The balance check. Simple as that.
How so?
Well, if your P9 finish is strong, balanced, athletic, with pretty much all your weight on your lead foot,
Okay.
it's a very strong indicator that the entire rotational sequence, the weight transfer, everything was efficient. Your belt buckle and your chest should ideally be facing the target, or even slightly left of it for a right-hander.
And if you're off balance, falling backward or sideways?
It tells you something broke down earlier, probably in that crucial P5 to P7 phase. The sequencing or the weight transfer wasn't quite right.
Okay, so that's the map, T1 through P9. The static checkpoints, the where of the swing. But you mentioned earlier, to really understand speed, we need to dig into the why, the physics behind it. That kinematic sequence thing, driving the action from P4 at the top down to P7 impact.
Yes, this is where the real magic, the speed generation, happens. And it really is pure physics. We used the whip analogy before.
Right.
And it's still the best way to visualize the kinematic sequence. To get maximum speed at the end of the chain, the club head energy has to be transferred efficiently from the big, relatively slow body segments.
Like the core, the torso.
Yeah. Exactly. To the smaller, faster segments, like the arms and ultimately the club. And the key is how it transfers. Each segment accelerates rapidly, then decelerates sharply, almost like putting on the brakes,
Okay.
which slingshots its energy up the chain to the next segment.
Right, accelerating and decelerating in sequence. Let's break down those peak speeds segment by segment, starting from the core, the engine room.
Okay, so the pelvis, the hips, they initiate the downswing at P5.
Yeah.
Their rotational speed peaks, first hitting maybe around 480 degrees per second in elite players. Then, almost immediately, it starts to slow down.
It breaks to pass the energy on.
Precisely. Next up is the chest, the torso. It follows that initial pelvic thrust, accelerates, and reaches this peak speed shortly after the pelvis, maybe somewhere near 730 degrees per second.
Whoa, okay, so already a big jump. The chest is moving, what, over 50% faster than the hips peaked at?
Yeah, significant amplification. And that transfer continues up into the arms.
Lee arm, mostly.
The arm segment, yeah. It accelerates dramatically, harnessing all that energy transferred from the powerful core rotation. Its peak speed gets up near 1,000 degrees per second.
1,000 degrees per second, that's whipping through.
It is. And then finally, all that accumulated energy is released into the smallest, lightest, and therefore fastest segment,
The club.
the club head.
The business end, the culmination of the entire whip effect.
You got it. The club head accelerates last but fastest, reaching its absolute maximum speed, which can be, an astounding 2,280 degrees per second or even more,
Wow.
right at the moment of impact, P7.
2280. Compared to 480 for the pelvis, that's incredible amplification.
It is. And if that sequence is pelvis peaks and slows, chest peaks and slows, arms peak and slow, club peaks at impact, if that timing is perfect.
If that timing is perfect.
You maximize club head.
Do
differently.
maximize it.
Yeah.
If any segment fails to decelerate properly at the right time, or if the sequence gets out of order,
Yeah.
energy just leaks out. You lose speed. So that P1 to P9 framework we walked through, it's really the physical scaffolding that allows a golfer to achieve that incredible dynamic acceleration chain from 480 up to over 2,200 degrees per second.
Exactly.
And being able to look at those P positions helps you pinpoint where that sequence might be breaking down, where the energy leak is happening.
That's the diagnostic power.
Yeah.
We saw how P1, the setup, defines the potential for rotation and energy storage, and then how that critical transition at P5, initiating the kinematic sequence correctly, defines the dynamic energy transfer that results in maximum speed down to P7.
Understanding the positions gives you the language, the checkpoints to figure out how to fix the sequence.
Precisely.
So wrapping this up, what does all this mean for you, the listener, the golfer out there, maybe struggling with consistency or wanting to hit it further? What's the big takeaway?
What brings up a really interesting, maybe provocative thought that connects the very beginning of the swing to the very end, P1 to P7 speed. We know the efficiency of that kinematic sequence at P5, that whip effect. The rapid acceleration and deceleration relies fundamentally on the body being able to move freely without unnecessary restriction.
Right, no tension.
So think about this. If your P1, your address position, is filled with unconscious tension, maybe your shoulders are tight, your arms are rigid, how often does that initial tension unknowingly sabotage your lower body's ability to initiate that powerful, free-flowing whip sequence correctly back at P5?
So the tension at the start directly kills the speed potential later on.
It very well could. That fundamental balance and, crucially, relaxation right at the start, at P1, often dictates whether you can actually achieve that powerful, unrestricted energy transfer that peaks at impact. It's all connected.
That's a fantastic thought to leave everyone with. True power might actually start with zero tension. Check your setup, your P1, and you might just unlock that whip effect at P5.
Worth thinking about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the biomechanics of the golf swing. We really hope this P1 to P9 roadmap helps you decode your own swing and understand those movement patterns a little better.